Hello students, I am Manisha Madekar. I am lecturer at Dr. Kalmadi Shamrao Junior College. Today we are going to study advanced web designing. This is the first chapter in information technology. In web designing we have already studied the hypertext markup language, that is HTML, in the standard 11. So as you know, this is the language which is supported with different features which is helpful for creating the forms, that is to get the input. Now in the standard 12 we will study HTML5 because it supports various features. HTML5 is currently used because it supports mainly mobile technology. The major browsers are Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge, etc. The characteristics of HTML5 are: it is multimedia enabled. HTML5 enables browsers to play video and audio files. New HTML5 input types. This is the new feature in the HTML5, that there are various input type features. Previously, we have studied input type as text, but here there are various input types in HTML5. Input types are useful in receiving the input in desired format. Input tools are very important in data-based web applications. Next is canvas in HTML5. HTML5 is canvas areas enabled. Canvas is a rectangular area which allows pixel level work such as line, circle, performing graphics, etc. Editable content in HTML5. This feature lets the end user edit the HTML controls makeup. This type of feature allows developer to build web pages that contain sections such as HTML editor, notes that we are going to study. Then the main thing is HTML5 is to take the input from the user. For that, we generally used the forms. Form tag can have following attributes. Some of the attributes we have already studied in standard 11, that is name. It specifies a name to a form. Action. The action attribute specifies the path where the form is to be submitted. When user clicks on submit button, if the action attribute is committed, the action is set to the current page. Method. The method attribute specifies get or post method to be used when submitting the form data. Method of form are get or post. Get method is used. This is the default method of submitting form data. The data submitted by using get is visible in the address bar. It is better for data which is not sensitive. The number of characters in get method depends on browser. Post method. The post method of sending data does not display the form data in the address bar. So it is a secure method to submit sensitive or personal information. It does not have size limitations as in get method. Input type is equal to text. This we have previously studied. Creates a one-line text box. Input type is equal to radio. Creates a radio button. The radio button allows one option selection against multiple choices. Input type is equal to checkbox. Creates a checkbox. It allows more than one selection against multiple choices. Input type is equal to submit. Displays a button for submitting the form data to a server. Input type is equal to password. The password input is used to create text contains in the form of asterisk or disk. Input type is equal to reset. The reset control clears the text content entered in the form. Input type is equal to button. It displays the push button which activates on events. All these buttons we have previously studied in standard 11. Now this year we will have some new input types. one one more thing is text area. The text area is used to create a text box with multiple lines. The number of lines and width of the text box are specified by using rows and calls attribute respectively. Here rows to mention the height and calls to mention width. Then select tag is used to create a drop down list. Now, forms in HTML. The form tag defines a form that is used to collect user input. It has different controls related to form like text, radio, checkbox, submit, reset, select, and text area. These controls are used to collect user input. There are buttons to clear the contents and submit the data. There are some additional form controls which can be used for validation purpose. Now this is the output of one of the form demo. So here is the text, enter your name, and in front of it there is a text box to enter the name. Select your city. This is a drop down list with the first name as Pune. Enter your address. This is a text area field which gives you a big text box to enter information more than one line. Enter your standard. Here these are the radio buttons where there will be the selection of only one option. Choose your optional subjects. This is for checkboxes where you can select more than one checkbox. This is the button to submit the information, and this is clear button is to clear the information. Now this is the code for the previous output. HTML, head, title, form with input elements. Here we are using body bg color. So we are using bg color attribute for the body tag and the value is orange. Then h1, that is use of form method, where we are using method as a post, and action is equal to data.php, which will submit your value to this particular destination. The next is input type is equal to text, where you will be able to enter your name. Select your city, where there was a drop down list with the initial city as Pune. There are many options: Pune, Nagpur, Solapur. Okay. Then enter your address. There is a text box for entering address with rows 3 and calls 30. As I said, rows 3 will decide the height of the box and calls 30 will decide the width of the box. Next is for entering the standard, there is a radio button, only one selection. Then choose your optional subjects. For this, there are check boxes from which you can select multiple boxes. Then the input type is equal to submit button to send the value. Input type is equal to reset to clear the value. So this is the basic code for form designing. Now next is new input elements. So the first new input element is color, which defines a color picker. Next is number, which defines a field for entering a number. Next is URL, which defines a field for entering a URL. Next is image, which defines an image as a submit button. As in the previous program, we have used the submit button, but here you can use image as a submit button. Then there is a input type is equal to date, from which you can select the date, that is a date picker. Input type is equal to email. This is for entering email address. Then input type is equal to month, which defines a month and year control. Input type is equal to range, where you can enter a range of 0 to 100. Input type is equal to time, which defines the control for entering time. Input type is equal to week, which defines a week and year control. input type is equal to telephone defines a field for telephone number. Now by using all these elements, there is one program with output. So the first is input type is equal to text, where you can enter your name. Second is input type is equal to email, where you can enter your email ID. Then the date of inception, here the input type is date with the date picker, where you can select month, date and year. Next is office timing. Here input type is equal to time with a time picker, where you can enter or select a time. Next is number of years completed, which will be range, that is in between 1 to 100. Here the input type is equal to number. Minimum value is 1 and maximum value is 100, which is mentioned here. Then office phone number, where input type is equal to tel, where you can enter the phone number. Other than the phone number is not a valid entry for this particular input type. So the pattern is given 0 to 9 and 10, like that. Then input type is equal to URL, where you can connect your any web page or any website. So here input type is equal to URL. Then input type is equal to image, where we are using image as a hyperlink or image as a submit button.